That post on X by former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, just about this time yesterday, has caused a lot of rippling across not just Kaduna State, but the nation, particularly the political space. And it would seem Governor El-Rufai is not happy about a lot of things, because seeing the words he used to describe Governor Sani, saying embarrassingly and sycophantically rambling, quite strong words. But let's get to the heart of this, because he also talked about what he described as selective reimbursement, interventions and grants in excess of 150 billion naira given to Kaduna State by President Tinubu's government in the last 18 months. So quite a number of issues to unpack here. And we have joining us on the program this morning, former governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, is also former president, Southern Kaduna People's Union, joining us via phone in Kaduna. And you can see on your screen Mr. Simon Reef, concerned Kaduna citizen, political analyst. But joining us via phone, as I said earlier on, Mr. Jonathan Asake, who's former governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 governorship elections. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the Morning Brief.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'll begin with you, Mr. Asake. Watching the political situation unfold, I mean, some will have said if you had won the election, perhaps this would have been you or not. But seeing what is unfolding between two best of friends, some would say, even though some other people have said it was just a friendship of convenience, a friendship for political reasons. What do you make of this back and forth between Governor Sani, who had taken a swipe to former Governor El-Rufai, and now Governor El-Rufai taking a direct aim at him? What do you make of it, Mr. Asake? What exactly is playing out here that we don't know?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that the two of them are fighting instead of them putting their heads together into good governance for the benefit of the people of Kaduna State. They say when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. So it is the people of Kaduna State that are suffering with this their fight, and it's most unfortunate, truly. What I make of this is that it's just a continuation of what we see happening over and over in Nigeria, particularly when a governor takes over from his predecessor. You know, they continue to fight, even if they have been the best of friends, even if they have been bedmates, even if they have previously done things together, you know. They come together. I mean, when one takes over again, they start fighting, and then it's the people that suffer, because it obstructs governance. It obstructs good governance, and it stops the people from benefiting from what the very benefits of democracy should be. So it's most unfortunate.
Well, you say it's most unfortunate. I wonder if they see it in that light, and more importantly, why is this happening now? Do you think this is build up to 2027? And you talked about the people. So do you think this is something that people should pay attention to? Does this affect governance in your view, Mr. Asake?
It affects governance a lot. It affects governance a lot because, and I think it's all about their self-interest. That's all. It is not about the people. It's about their self-interest. If you look back, the present governor who actually complained that his predecessor, Nasir El-Rufai, accumulated a lot of debt and left it for the state when he took over, you know, if you can recall, when Nasir El-Rufai first approached the National Assembly to take a loan of $350 million, that whopping amount of money, the senators then, I remember, our then Senator La and Senator Sani, then and Senator Hunkuyi, they all came together and they said they want to see what he wants to use this money for. And they couldn't get a very good explanation, so they declined. And he couldn't get that loan. Then he went and walked against them and brought in his friend, who is the present governor, and made him the senator. and he facilitated and he got this loan. Then he didn't, maybe he didn't realize that he was coming to take over, and then he started crying that the man left a lot of debt for the state. So that is why the whole thing started. And until today, so looking at it from that angle of this man has accumulated a debt of so billions, you know, he cannot explain 423 billion naira and so on and so forth. It's all about their self-interest. It's not about the people.
Thank you, Mr. Sake, for referring to Governor Sani's reference earlier in March that his predecessor, you know, put the state in debt to the tune of over 500 billion naira, I believe. But right after that, in July, the State Assembly also begins a probe of the former governor El-Rufai, accusing him of money laundering and diversion of funds to the tune of 423 billion naira. So when Governor Sani, you know, says to Nigerians now that, oh, all is well between himself and his predecessor, and his relationship with him is cordial, and Kaduna State is more important than himself and former Governor El-Rufai, is he just saying this for the optics and, you know, rather shying away from what is really happening? Mr. Reef, I'm coming to you with that question now.
Well, thank you very much for this very question. Now, let me state here that the people of Kaduna State have always prayed the relationship between Governor Sani and El-Rufai should not be cordial. And that happened less than a year after Sani succeeded El-Rufai. The truth of the matter is, the 8 years of El-Rufai was years that were harrowing for the people of Kaduna State. Not just for the southern part, but also for the northern part. Everyone was affected. Because in the last 8 years we saw, while El-Rufai held forth in the 8 years, what he was simply engaged in doing was just cartoon, HD drawings. This was what he was doing, painting roads. And at the end of the day, we saw what we saw. Now, looking at so much money he got in terms of loans and all other things, you discover that no government would have survived without taking into cognizance what happened in the last 8 years. Sani, of course, was a friend of El-Rufai. Like Asake said, of course, we knew what happened. But at the end of the day, when you are at the helms of affairs, you look at things critically. You review situation, and you try to see what can you do to ensure that you put things right. Sani did not shy from that responsibility. And he approached the federal government. And that is why when El-Rufai is saying that he knows that the support of Sani to President Tinubu is conditional, and that the man has given an intervention of over 150 billion. Well, I praise the president for doing that, because without that intervention, Kaduna will have been thrown into a fathomless pit of financial paucity. Now, with that thing over, whatever happens is that what happened is not, Sani has stood for the people. He's standing for the people. Because the people of Kaduna State have suffered in the last 8 years. What we had was to have a managed media reportage that unveiled El-Rufai as somebody that was working.
Mr. Reef, pardon me.
In the media.
Can you hear me? If I may come in there,
I hear you.
If you say that Mr. Governor Sani is standing for the people, are you taking into cognizance all of the details of the background to these series of events? Because if Governor Sani says that you know, Governor El-Rufai plunged the state into debt, he was also a member of the administration during the first term of Governor Nasir El-Rufai. He was in fact appointed by the governor as the special advisor on political and intergovernmental affairs. So shouldn't he take some responsibility for whatever state of affairs the administration of Governor El-Rufai left Kaduna in?
Let me tell you, politics is politics. If you want to get into the governorship, you want to get to a political position, you need to support the man in power, whether you like it or not. He has walked his way to the government house, and he has discovered that what he has seen on the books is not something that is defensible. So he's coming out. He's coming out. And again, we've seen the State House of Assembly coming out to institute an investigation that has clearly shown that the 8 years of the El-Rufai administration were made in financial malfeasance. So if you cannot accuse, of course, Sani may be part of it, but if he's part of it, he cannot simply sit down and keep quiet and see the people of Kaduna State and see the state going down. And that is why he has gone all out. If he had approached the president for intervention, there is nothing wrong with it.
All right, Mr. Riff,
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Let's take it to Mr. Sake on this particular one. The core, I want us to stay and try and the merit of the issue has to do with governance and how finances are managed. I saw a statement credited to some of the persons who served in the El-Rufai administration within the time he was governor, and they said some of the loans that the current administration had claimed were being secured by the El-Rufai administration. Yes, he negotiated some of those loans, but there were no disbursement as at the material time. I looked through the records of the DMO, so for facts based on DMO, El-Rufai as governor met $222 million as external debt, but left with about $569 million. So he accrued on the state about $343 million before he left office. And when it comes to the domestic debt, about $31 million. So, Mr. Shaka, I want you to do some quick evaluation as to what exactly do you think is playing out here in this blame game? Is it just mere politics, or there are things that, as my colleagues had asked, the people of Kaduna should really go further to probe beyond what the State Assembly is probing in terms of the $400 billion they are claiming that is either being laundered or being misappropriated? Mr. Sake, is for you.
You see, I do not have most of these figures at my fingertips. But one thing I know is that it's not about the people of Kaduna. The people of Kaduna have mandated their representatives at all levels. They have mandated their representatives in the State House of Assembly and in the National Assembly to be their watchdogs. And if the State Assembly sincerely is committed to unraveling all these things, as they have started, then they should go all the way to bring out the entire information. I've seen some of their recommendations. They have recommended, they have given recommendation that heads of certain parastatals or agencies in Kaduna State, some commissioners under El-Rufai, should be brought to book. But you see, they should go further than that, because El-Rufai himself, that we know, who is coming on media every time to try to exonerate himself by himself, not waiting for the process to take its course, and trying to come out, and claim that he is clean. It should not even be so, because the House of Assembly is above that. So I think the governor and his members of the House of Assembly, who are representing the people of Kaduna State, who are holding the resources of Kaduna State in trust for the people, should come out and do the needful. They should come out clear and let the world know that this is where they stand. But if not, most of all will see it as gimmicks, as grandstanding. Most of us will see it as they are just playing over the intelligence of the people. They are not coming out clean, and they are not coming out clear to tell us where they stand. So to me, I think, like I said earlier, it is the grass that is suffering. It is the people that are suffering because governance is being obstructed. And to me, the governor himself, the people are looking up to him. Whatever the process that brought him, the people are looking up to him to stand on their behalf. We give him credit for some things. Personally, like in the aspect of insecurity in the state, since he came over, he has ensured that the insecurity that was all over the state is reduced. He visits people, he goes to communities, he interacts different from his predecessor, who I know when I was a couple president, when there is an attack anywhere or over any community, the first thing he does is to lay the blame on the victim community, and the next thing is to declare a 24 hours curfew on the same community. And within that 24 hours curfew that may last for as much as 6 months, the attackers will still come in and be killing and maiming and destroying. And so he enjoyed it. But since he left, these things have reduced. So I can give credit to Governor Sani on that. But on this particular aspect of leaving the state indebted or whatever, I think Governor Sani needs to come out much forthright and call a spade a spade. Not to begin to say that he has no problem with his predecessor when everybody knows that there is a problem. Let him come out. If the people of the state will assist, we can come in and assist. And so that we have good governance in the state, so that the people can have the dividends of democracy, so that development can go on.
Well, just to say that we also reached out to Mr. El-Rufai's camp just to get them on the show as well, to speak to their own side of this, but we didn't get any response. Hopefully, in the coming days, maybe they might respond, but it's important to state that we also reached out to the camp of Mr. El-Rufai for comments on this matter. Jeffrey?
Mr. Reef, I want to bring that question that some of the things that Mr. Asake had raised about governance being impacted. In your view, has it really been impacted? Because sometimes people are characterizing this differently. Some say just mere rhetorics around politics. Others say just a hot balloon being blown. Others say investigation has to be conducted so that whoever is the culprit has to be brought to book. Others are arguing that El-Rufai was not given fair hearing, which is why he instituted the suit that has now been redirected to the state judiciary. So, has governance really been impacted in your books?
Well, as far as I am concerned, governance has not been impacted. I see this thing as just like as like a storm in a teacup. Because like you rightly said, I went through a snippet of a report where former commissioners came out to say saying that this is what happened, this is what happened. But at the end of that press statement, I didn't see anybody signing. So anyone could have simply sat down one night, write it, and release it to the media. And as far as I'm concerned, for now, let that continue. For now, we have two officials of the El-Rufai administration that have been in court. That is, Jimmy Lawal has been, is arraigned before the court also, and then the former chief of staff. Let that continue. You see, except unless people that have defraud the state, face some certain consequences, nothing will work. I think I wholeheartedly support this continued sole relationship between El-Rufai and Uba, because I don't see it as anything. It has never impacted anywhere, because if the president had not intervened with 150 billion naira, as El-Rufai said, nothing would have moved. Kaduna State would have gone down. So we need every kobo that was stolen, that was misappropriated, for it to be returned to the Kaduna people. So I see nothing wrong with that, please.
Well, it's important to say that there are still allegations until the court proves them. These are still major allegations being bandied here and there. But, looking at Mr. El-Rufai's post on X, if you just take a look at it further, he didn't only refer to the governor in that manner, talking about the ramblings, etc. He also mentioned the name of President Bola Tinubu. And that raises even more questions, because you begin to wonder, is this about a relationship between the current president? Is that what is also at stake here? Because in the last paragraph, he says, by all means, defend Asiwaju for the conditional cash transfer. Asiwaju has earned it, coming from you. The people of Kaduna State will judge at the right time and place. So do you think that this also has anything to do with the relationship with President Bola Tinubu? Is this what is really at stake here? Because it says 150 billion naira have been given selectively to Kaduna. Mr. Reef, you seem to support that. If the 150 billion naira allegedly is questionable, do you support an investigation into those disbursements?
Well, even before that intervention, there were these stories that things were not moving well because of the finances. I think it was Ubasade last year that screamed that the state was almost down. They couldn't pay salaries. There are a lot of the payment of loans and other things. And they couldn't get those things put across. So I support what is happening as far as intervention is concerned. But you should also note that El-Rufai is all out against Tinubu. He doesn't like it. I read some of his things where he was saying that he does not even recognize the APC. They've not had NEC meeting. They've not had. How many NEC meetings did they ever have when Buhari was in government in the last 8 years? Nothing. But the truth of the matter is that he has fallen out of favor with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So any attempt, any opportunity he can get to say one or two things that will lower the estimation of the federal government or the president, then I think he will go for it. But as far as I am concerned, what Tinubu has done is very, very right. He can't sit down as a father of the nation, as a president, to see one state suffering because of the burden of loan repayment that Kaduna State has been subjected to because of collecting 350 million. Of course, when El-Rufai came in 2015, he lamented on these foreign loans. What happened at the end of the day? By the time he left by 2023, all we had was more of these loans, and there was nothing to show for it. Well, I just called somebody in the last 2 days. One of the contract that was given.
Mr. Reeve, just to be clear, do you have a personal grouse against Mr. El-Rufai?
El-Rufai is a very wonderful person, a personal person that I love and I cherished. I was the chairman of the correspondent chapel of the FCT when he was a minister of the FCT. I had the privilege of meeting El-Rufai for 3 good hours. And in that meeting, the president governor was there, the minister of environment, that was SSG, was there, Moyo Adeke was there, Sam Aruan was there. And the whole thing is that this is a man that we expected so much from him. He's somebody that is very, very intelligent. But honestly, I didn't know what really happened. I love the man. Because if I don't love the man, I was always telling the truth. Because when you stand for the truth, people will think you have something personal. No, you don't.
Mr. Reeve, it appears as if that love seems to have waned now, and you may be towing the path of those who believe that, you know, the ramblings, borrowing the words of the former governor now, you know, are that of a man who didn't get a ministerial slot in this administration. So if we consider that alongside, you know, the words of, you know, the analysis of Mr. Saki, that the audit should be carried out, you know, for both sides of the divide, for the Sani government and indeed the El-Rufai government, who do you perceive to be an independent party? I'm coming to you now, Mr. Saki, that will carry out this intervention that will broker up peace, a truce between both parties, particularly if we were to draw parallels from what happened in Rivers State, where the political intervention didn't seem to work. Mr. Saki.
Please come again.
So if we were to draw parallels from what happened in Rivers State, where the political intervention brokered by Mr. President didn't seem to work, and here we are in Rivers State with the continuing challenge between the former governor and his successor in office, who do you perceive to, you know, broker the truce between Governor Sani and his successor, Governor El-Rufai?
Well, I wouldn't know, but from the two personalities, I know that Sani, even as a sitting governor, can yield to anybody that is respected to broker that truce. But looking at El-Rufai on the other side, the way I know him and the way many of Nigerians know him, the man that is full of ego, who just before his exit from the governor's office, you know, said that to him, there are no leaders. I mean, there are no elders in the north. that they are the elders. So to him, he doesn't recognize anybody. So the man is full of ego. So I don't think there is anything that can be done to bring El-Rufai to the table, except if that which is defined along his own thinking and along his own interest and along his own overblown ego. So if you are talking of El-Rufai, truly, for me as a person who served as the Southern Kaduna People's Union president when he was governor, I don't want to recall those days. I don't want to recall those days again. So to me, I don't think El-Rufai will even agree to come and sit down and be reconciled with the governor, because he knows if that is done, the people of Kaduna State will have better governance. So he wants to overheat the system so that the same hell that the people went through during his time will continue under this governor. And he's not seeing that thing happening. That is why he's ranting everywhere. And I don't think he can get it.
Well, Mr.
So I advise that the governor should continue to do what he is doing for the people of Kaduna State. Let him be a statesman. Let him look at all the areas that we pointed out as the shortcomings of El-Rufai and correct on them. Number one is appointment of the people of the state into political offices, and let him have fairness and justice and balance.
We have to anchor at this point, Mr. Sake.
Yes.
We have to anchor at this point, but two important points you made, and it's important to state yet again that we reached out to the camp of Mr. El-Rufai to also be a part of this conversation and provide their own side to the story, but we got no response. But gentlemen, thank you for your time, and it's important to yet again state that I remember that he had said he didn't want to be a part of the government, and it was the president that appealed to him, and it was a public appeal. So it's quite interesting the way things are now turning out now. But we've been speaking with Mr. Jonathan Asake, former governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, former president, Southern Kaduna People's Union, joining us via phone from Kaduna. Thank you, Mr. Asake. And Mr. Simon Reef, concerned Kaduna citizen, political analyst, man who views Mr. El-Rufai as brilliant, as a great person up until, well, now, I imagine. Thank you so much, Mr. Simon Reef, for your time on the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, clearly this is not the end of this matter. We'll continue to follow and give you the latest. We'll take a moment now, and when we return, there's more for you on the Morning Brief. Please stay with us.